Best Western.
Roast him. That was wrong word, weren't it?
There's no easy way of saying this, so I'm just going to spit it out. Did you or didn't you?
Well, you see, when I first saw Chris, I fell in love with him, but then we started skating together, and that was it. That was done.
Really? So just to clarify, you've never had any kind of relationship? Seriously? Nothing? Not a flicker?
No, people find that hard to understand.
Not a kiss?
Well, we kiss all the time, don't we?
Like a proper kiss?
Yeah.
You know, the one where you...
Mouth open, tongues... No.
One snog in the history of Torvill and Dean, 38 years.
No snugs.
Really? Yes, you have.
Not
Yeah,
that I
the
can...
memory's so far ago.
You see, it's coming back now, isn't it?
No. No.
You've never had a moment?
We may have dabbled slightly, but it wasn't
Whoa!
Was I there? Was I there? Honestly.
Just to clarify the word dabble.
dabble.
What does dabble mean, Chris?
I think we came back from a coach trip one time. We sat
That was
at
in the back
You know, like-
seat of one of
Back
those
seat of the
coaches.
I think he probably put his arm around me and I fell asleep.
No, I think he thinks there's a little bit more than that.
Does he? Well, I was
While
probably
she was asleep, I may have kissed her.
I think,
She knew nothing.
I knew nothing.
I think there was a bit of snogging on the back of the coach, wasn't there? That's what you're really getting. I didn't mention dabbling, you did.
It was a dabble.
So there was a bit of kissing.
It might have been.
I think you're putting words into his
This is a
mouth.
piece of history. You've had every interviewer trying to get this in the last 40 years. I've finally cracked the rock. The word dabble has been used. Everyone's now gripped. Never mind Valero. This is the big one.
And that's as far as it goes.
Maybe as far as it goes now, but was that as far as it went?
Yes,
Categorically.
categorically. It's an unusual relationship that we have. And yet at the same time, of course, we love each other. You know, you wouldn't be able to do all that we do.
I mean, it is an extraordinary relationship. It's hard to think of another one quite like it, actually.
Yeah, no, it's... I wouldn't trade her in.
Jane and Chris, as we've heard, it hasn't just been skating that's fascinated your fans. The British public were hoping the Torvill and Dean fairy tale would continue from the ice to the Isle. But within a few years, they were dating, just not each other. Jane was in a relationship with Phil Christensen, a sound engineer who worked on their professional tour, and soon it was serious.
Phil proposed to Jane with the most beautiful engagement ring, which she wore very proudly until we started the next leg of another tour.
They kept it to themselves for a long time because she didn't want to break the magic of Torvill and Dean.
They were encouraged by tour producers and promoters not to be seen with respective partners.
With his skating partner getting hitched, Chris found himself at a crossroads.
Jane getting engaged to Phil affected Chris in more of a personal way than even a professional way, because Chris's answer to that was to get engaged. He was actually dating two girls at the time, Isabel and another really lovely Swiss skater, and unfortunately he chose the wrong one.
Chris's new wife, Canadian skater Isabelle Deschanel, wanted him to concentrate on choreographing her rather than skating.
Isabel thought that she should be the centre of attention and Chris should not be skating anymore.
Contemplating just a life of choreographing, I don't think filled Chris with any kind of inspiration. I think the shock of marrying the wrong person for the wrong reason at the wrong time just devastated him.
It did hit him hard for a time.
Chris is absolutely no good on his own. Sometimes you just want to say, you can cope on your own. It goes right back to being a 6-year-old boy and losing his mum.
Jane and Phil, meanwhile, were happily married and looking to the future.
They have a beautiful house and hope for a family. It was the final part of the jigsaw. But then they realised that they were having problems and it might not be as easy as she'd hoped.
Jane sacrificed a lot for skating. Maybe it was left a little bit late because all her life, until her mid-30s, it was constantly hard training.
When you have had the success that she had and the Olympic golds, which is amazing, but what she really wanted was children.
She had her IVF treatment. She had a dreadful, dreadful ectopic pregnancy, which nearly killed her.
It's hard to see a friend go through years, really, of she just wanted to be a mum at the end of the day.
In 2003, that wish was granted when Jane and Phil adopted the first of 2 children.
That was the icing on the cake for her part of her life, away from the ice.
Now they have 2 beautiful children, both of which they've had since they were tiny babies, and Jane's the mother that she always wanted to be.
Clearly a very tough time that you had leading up to adopting children, and your friends clearly thought that, really, in the end, you'd achieved so much, but what you really wanted was to have a child of your own. Tell me about that period.
Well, I think, as a couple skating together, it's easy for the guy to go off and start a family because it wouldn't affect his skating, whereas for me, I didn't want to sort of stop what we were doing, so I left it quite late. And I was sort of well into my 40s, I think, by then. But then having an ectopic pregnancy as well.
Which is a very serious condition.
Yeah, because I got pregnant quite quickly, and I thought, oh, this is fine. And when I went to have a scan, they said I had an ectopic pregnancy, and I didn't know what that meant. And they said, oh, well, the embryo is growing in one of the tubes. And I said, oh, okay. I was thinking, fine. I said, so how'd you get it out then? And they said, oh, we can't. So that's when it hit me. I was like, oh. So went through the surgery, and then it was obviously going to be more difficult. So tried IVF for about a year. That, as a lot of women will know, it's traumatic in itself.
The moment you decided to adopt, how did you reach that decision with Phil?
Well, a friend of mine had adopted a little boy. She said, oh, come and see him. And at that point, I wasn't ready to look into adoption. I was still thinking it was going to happen. And you've got to be ready for it if you want to adopt. I said to my husband, I don't know if I could do this. And I went to see this little boy, and I wanted to bring him home.
And then you knew. What was that feeling like when you had your little boy and you were a family?
Scary.
It is terrifying the first time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But incredibly fulfilling for you as a woman?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a while to get used to having another... Sorry.
She's never talked about it in public before.
No, I realise that. Take your time a second. And you went on to have you adopted a baby girl as well. You had these two kids who are growing up very nicely now. How do you find being a mother?
When the second child comes along, it's amazing the things that you do for the first one that you realise it didn't really have to go to that extreme. The times I used to leave the house with my little girl, and I'd forget to take the bag with all the stuff in, and, the milk and the nappies and I used to think, oh my gosh, what kind of a mother am I? But then you think, well, wait a minute, if I need to, I can go and buy this stuff while I'm out. But there's obsessiveness with the first child.
Yeah. Chris, before we talk about your first marriage, I'll pick up on something that your friend and former PA Debbie said. She said that when you decided to get married, you were dating 2 skaters. First of all, is that true?
I don't know whether that's in her head. At some point there was a Swiss girl, but I don't think it was at the same time, no.
She felt that you made the wrong choice. You should have gone with the other skater.
I think Debbie and everybody else I knew thought it was the wrong choice. Everybody. Did you think it was the wrong choice?
Yeah.
Your wedding day to Isabel. She planned it all. She had
Her and the mother.
had photographers there, camera crews. It was a huge event.
Yeah, it was.
She was the star.
I turned up.
Yeah. Is that how it felt to you?
Yeah.
We have a picture of you on the wedding day. Do you think that you loved him?
Answer.
The love thing. That's a very hard thing for me. I go back to the childhood thing, the mother thing. And I think that love thing's hard for me to find.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Because you had it for your mother and she left you.
Yeah.
When you got divorced, Isabel claimed that you were very cold. She also said that you'd had a string of lovers. Was either true?
No. No, I don't think I was cold. And as for a string of lovers, no. No, I don't have string of lovers.
How long was a piece of string? Could there have been any particles of string?
No. No.
A dabble?
I can honestly say each relationship I was in, I was faithful until it finished. It was like you rushed towards this wall and crashed, and I didn't know it was going to be like this.